About the Ted Bundy case, I really got a shock because, when I went over all of the most known victims and so on, I know Iceman, Israel Keys, and Sam the Bull, and Ted Bundy has been in South, right? And the horrifying thing about checking out the Ted Bundy case was, number one, he has been here where people kind of disappear, right? It's like a Bermuda Triangle. It's a pirate kidnapper area with, mobs and terrorism and stuff. Secondly, I was listening to an interview by his assumable lawyer who says in an interview, and he said a quote, that Bundy was arrested for a minor thing about a driver license. And he called, of course, his lawyer. And the lawyer says in the interview, maybe it was wrong of me not to tell the police that he was suspect of murder. Meaning he assumed that he is aware of a suspect and he's keeping the hand over him, but actually falls back on him for assuming there is a murder, right? So he actually suspects him more than being defender. Secondly, the interview with the filmmaker and the bookmaker and his lawyer, he says, quote, "It's scary to think about that my girlfriend was murdered." So basically, the lawyer has a girlfriend that is murdered, right? Very suspicious. And there's something more. There is a video where they turn some pictures up in a bank box about his arrestment, meaning that somebody think that this is value, right? And this were under the case. And then I recognized there was some people I recognized in the police staff, maybe, right? The first thing is that under the trial, there is some of the witnesses and also later when he's killed that belongs to the mafia. Then there's also another angle is that some of his belongings, there's some almost like IRA hats or the German, the bubble car and stuff like that, where I think like this could be random things anybody could actually show them as his, right? But to be honest, I think it may be something else. It may be the media that's interesting. It's maybe, again, a lot of police fail on the spot. He also says something about when he's going through his files. He says there was some mistakes around the case in that state, blah, 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 and in another state, blah, blah, blah. So maybe they had this kind of, we have the same thing here. There's 4 cases in Denmark, at least, where the dead body is being handled in a way that's very special, right? And we also have another case about a rapist, and he's supposed to be a gang rapist, and he's supposed to be a child killer, and he's supposed to be a killer, and God knows what else. Only on DNA, right? So basically, methods and so on. So basically, it's possible. And the scary thing about this is that I realized because of the impact of the media and maybe, unreliable system, you can create a serial killer. And I think in the latest interview where he's actually not answering anything, another thing I noticed with Ted Bundy is that he actually interviews the interviewer. So when the interviewer asks him, "Where did you put the body?" And he will return the answer with another question, which is a way of interviewing, right? So basically, and when he says something about that he was getting a blackout and he didn't know what he was doing, he probably did have a blackout. He probably wasn't there. And when he, in the end of the thing, is convinced that he's going to die and justice unfilled, he actually takes a stand as it's a baby little Christian, but he takes a stance like the person who is crucified, right? But for telling about the pornographic is dangerous, like a message kind of thing. Then I noticed that the person around standing and talking about the jail thing, there are interesting people. I would say they maybe have a record, right? So hard to know, right? But it's a very interesting case.